To you today, and the first man I'm going to bring out is a bona fide UFC legend. This man is one of the most significant voices in mixed martial arts today, former three-time UFC title challenger, the one, the only, Chael Sonnen. All right, we will have a Massachusetts flavor for the rest of these athletes. Next man to the stage competed recently. He is the number 7 ranked bantamweight contender in the world. Some might argue best pound for pound fighter ever out of Massachusetts, Lauzon. All right, next man to the stage, a 27-time UFC veteran. This man is a pioneer, a legend, made his UFC debut back in 2006. How about a hand for Chael Lauzon? All right, and our final athlete out here today, one of the best featherweights in the world right now. 6 of his 12 UFC fights have been main events. Ladies and gentlemen, Kattar. Well, I can't thank you guys all enough for coming out. We're going to open fan questions up also to the media here shortly. But I'm going to begin with the man on the end, Chael Sonnen. I know you've headlined here inside TD Garden. Nice pop when you came out. I'd imagine it's enjoyable for you to be back in the bean.
Oh my goodness, hey John, so that was 10 years ago. And when I came out here, I thought like I was one of these guys. Like, yeah, I'm from Boston, I'm gonna go to Regina's, and I was getting a ride from the airport, and the guy told me Regina's is gone. It doesn't even exist. Now, whether that's true or not, the point is, that's when I realized it's been 10 years.
Been a long time, and Rob Font, it's great to see you, my man. Obviously, you fought recently. Many of these fans were hoping to see you compete here at TD Garden. Good to see you nonetheless.
Man, thank you guys. I'm heartbroken. I really wanted to perform here for you guys, but I'll be back soon for sure.
Well, few athletes have lit up this state and this garden quite like Joe Lauzon. Not sure why you're not on the fight card, my man, but it's great to see you as well.
I tried to get on the card. Didn't work out, but I tried. Wasn't a lack of trying.
And this man, Kattar mania in full effect today. It's great to see you. I know you're on the men, but we look forward to your return as well. How you doing?
Yeah, it feels good to be back in here. Wish one of us was gracing the octagon tonight, tomorrow night, but happy to be back and look forward to an eventual return soon.
All right. With that, we are going to open it up. Jose Youngs has a hot microphone. Go ahead, sir.
I'll start with Chael Sonnen on the end. It's been a while since we've seen you at any sort of UFC function, so I guess how good does it feel to be back here in front of UFC fans?
Oh, I love it. I'm pumped to be back. You know, particularly participating. Nice to see you, and I appreciate the question. By the way, Joe Lauzon just said he was trying to get on the card. Was that a joke, or were you really trying to get on the card?
I tried. It didn't work out.
Like you called the matchmaker?
I texted many times. I was told my services were not needed.
Well, either way, that's pretty cool. Thought that counts, right?
Another one for Chael. Obviously, you are famously undefeated. Sean O'Malley himself declares himself undefeated. So I guess, what are you expecting in the main event tomorrow?
Well, and that's interesting who you ask. Like the Boston State Athletic Commission says he's roughly 14-1, but the Sugar State Athletic Commission says he's 15-0. So I know what you mean. It's kind of like who you ask, and I've been in that spot, you know. Never really lost, but there's like intricacies within the rules, and it gets a little bit weird. Who do I like in that fight? And still.
And for Joe Lauzon, you said you tried to get on this card. Were there names that you asked for specifically, or were you just looking to get on this card?
So I would have fought whoever, but I really wanted to try and fight Shea Super. He just beat Nick Fiore, who's another local guy. I feel like it would be a really good matchup for me. Could have maybe been the last one, I don't know. But it just didn't come together. I tried, but I really tried, but it didn't work out.
So where are you at with your career? Do you want to fight one more, 2 more, or are you just trying to fight here in Boston?
So I don't need to fight, right? So whatever makes sense, if the location, the date, the opponent, if it all makes sense, I am 100% down to fight again. You know, but my gym's doing great. I don't need to fight. It's just like, it's one of those things that I really like doing. So if it makes sense, I'm down. We'll do it again. If we're done, we're done. We'll see. Doesn't matter.
Chael over here. You mentioned it was 10 years ago. It was almost 10 years ago to the day that you beat Shogun in this building. What do you remember most about that experience headlining in Boston on just about the 10-year anniversary of that fight?
I got to the press conference and I was ready to do my thing, right? And some guy is there and the fans got signs for him and they're wearing bow ties and there's some kind of a look-alike contest and this dude's down on the end speaking funny with sunglasses on. His name's Conor McGregor and I hadn't met him yet. And I couldn't understand why he was getting as many questions as I was, and I was not happy about it. That's what I remember the most.
That's crazy. And Joe, you were supposed to fight Donald Cerrone. You were very open and honest about why that fight didn't happen. Can you talk about the aftermath of all of that and why it's kind of taken you so long to kind of put your name in the hat to get back in here and fight?
So when the fight didn't happen, I was pretty heartbroken, honestly. The fight got moved. It got moved like twice, right? It was supposed to happen before. It was going to be the Apex. We didn't want to do it that way. It got moved to Texas. Didn't happen there because Cowboy got sick, had a bad weight cut. And then didn't happen a third time because my knee locked up on me, and I was like super depressed. It's like I've now done like an 8-month camp, and then my knee locks up on me after I've weighed in, after everything. So so I took a step back. I just kind of wanted to just like be sad, honestly. But I'm back to training a lot more now. I'm ready to go, but just didn't work out this time.
And why Chase Hooper?
I think stylistically it's a really good matchup for me. I like the idea of fighting someone that if I lose, maybe I'm gonna get guillotine, I'm gonna get leg locks, something like that. I just turned 39, so if we have a guy that's like not gonna fight Edson Barbosa, who's gonna try and eat my face off, right? So fighting a guy that's a grappler, go out there, give it my best. I think I'd have the striking advantage there. So if he's gonna get me, he's gonna get me a submission. But I really like my MMA jiu-jitsu, so I think we'll be okay.
And then we'll go to Rob and Calvin here. Both of you have fought in this building. Both of you have had amazing finishes and got huge pops from the crowd. I'll start with you, Calvin. What did you remember about the night that you finished Shane Burgos in front of this capacity crowd?
Yeah, I made my debut just before that fight. So coming in here, and it was early in the prelims, and then I came here and fought at home on a 10-week notice camp, and it was right before the 2 title fights. So the crowd was packed, the energy was crazy. And me and Rob, man, after that night, we got some big knockouts and couldn't sleep the rest of the night, just couldn't come down from the high. And I could feel that energy walking back in here today, and I can't wait to step back in here again and put it all on the line again soon.
And Rob, what do you remember about some of the big moments you've had fighting in this building?
So it was more of a feel, man. Like the canvas was just like, it was just rattling. Like the building the place was going crazy. It was the energy was growing crazy. The crowd was shooting, screaming my name, and then I get to go back and then watch him do his thing, and that fight was going back and forth, and then he finally knocks him out. So I'm back there going crazy. So yeah, it was a great moment. Would have loved to repeat that, but hopefully me and him will get back in this building soon.
All right, we have open microphones for any fans if you are so inclined. Anybody have a question? We have microphones on both sides. Don't be shy. We can certainly take it back to the media, or I can pepper these guys, but it looks like we do have one brave.
I got one, John.
What do you got?
Well, okay, I want to ask it to Kattar, because there's a rumor going around that Aljamain Sterling started, by the way, that if he succeeds on Saturday, he's leaving. He's going to 45. Should he be able to cut the line?
Should he be able to cut the line?
Yep. With a win. With a win, he goes to 45 and calls out Volkanovski.
What do you
think?
Put him on the spot.
I'm used to being on the spot, man. But yeah, I mean, when you've already defended the belt as many times as you have, people trying to claim that double champ status, you see it happen over and over. I guess it just depends on how many eyeballs you got on me, how many tickets you sling. But I mean, I really don't care too much about none of these guys, man. I don't know. Unless it's about Rob Font, he's fighting one of them, I'm cool with it, or it's my weight class. But if he gets it done and he gets a title fight, I don't really give a shit. Like my next fight's probably not for the belt. I'm working towards it. So whoever's next in line for me is my full focus, and I'll be gunning down one of those top 5s again soon.
And if you were to make a prediction, let's say he does go to 45 and calls out Volkanovski, will Volkanovski come and fight him? Because Volk says he's like rumored to go up to 55 and get a rematch with Islam. I just say, if you were to guess, what would your guess be?
My guess is that the champ, which he's got my ultimate respect, he just wants contenders. He's a busy champ. He never shies away from an opportunity and a challenge. So I got a lot of respect for him. And if Aljo's deserving of it, Alex will give it to him. You could bet on that.
Hey, thanks for bridging the gap there on the end, Chael Sonnen. We appreciate that. It looks like we have a brave Boston Celtics fan, and there are microphones on both sides. We'll go back and forth. Start us off, young man. What do you have?
Question for Chael Sonnen. So, Yuri Prochazka's supposed to fight Alex Pereira next. Who do you have in that fight?
Wow. See, I appreciate Pereira so much because Pereira's record is that of an amateur. He's like 7-0. It might be 8, or not a 0, but like 8 fights in total. It's very small, but he could also go into the Hall of Fame and nobody would disagree. And by the way, if he wins the light heavyweight championship this year, the same calendar year that he was the 85-pound champion, they could nominate him for Fighter of the Year with an amateur record that doesn't go to the ground. He's never had a wrestling match. I mean, the guy really is quite amazing. I underestimated Prochazka. I had lunch with King Mo, who fought him twice, and Mo talked my ear off telling me how special he was. And I walked out of that lunch, and I was at a hotel, and I ran into CB Dollaway in the lobby. CB had fought him and did the same thing. And King Mo and CB don't compliment anybody ever, and they both complimented this guy back to back. So Prochazka does something special. So who wins? That's a tough one. I'll take Pereira, just because of the activity.
Thank you so much. I love your YouTube channel. Keep it up, man.
Why, thank you.
All right, we'll go over here to the other side. Yes, sir. What do you have?
Thank you, John. I got a question for Rob.
Let's go.
Last week, you fought Corey Sandhagen, and I was wondering if, like, his game plan with all the wrestling kind of took you off guard because he's known for being a striker. Did you expect him to wrestle that much?
Yeah, it's almost like I forgot how to wrestle. You know, it was tough, man. I thought we were gonna go in there and kind of stand up. I prepped for a stand-up war. Should have been better prepared to wrestle. Just wasn't coming off. You know, it was tough. It was annoying. It was one of those fights that I would love to get back, and you know, I feel fresh still. So like it was just wasn't my night. But you know, hats off to him. He did what he had to do. He got the job done, and he got the win.
It was short notice too, so got a full camp, man.
Oh man, run it back, bro. Run it back. Let's go.
Thank you, man. Back over here.
Hey, this is another question for Rob. Rob, you've had a great career so far. You fought a lot of legendary fighters. I was just wanting to ask you, your fight with Jose Aldo, was there any cool moments after the fight that you guys shared together, or how did you feel going into that fight, knowing you were fighting someone of that caliber?
Yeah, we unfortunately both ended up in the hospital that night. You know, my eyes all swollen, his eyes all swollen, and I just got to sit with a legend in the hospital drinking Gatorade and just chopped it up with him, hung out with him for about a good hour. But then I would say that was probably the best moment, just seeing him kind of, and he was giving me a lot of good tips, he's keeping me motivated, and he hits me up sometimes here and there. So he's a good dude. Excellent champ, and it was an honor to kind of get in there and fight a guy that I grew up watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This question is for Joe. You run one of the most well-respected gyms in all New England. Why is there no answer for the body triangle in MMA?
So now we're getting technical stuff. So body triangle is really difficult sometimes because someone's got really long legs. It's a lot of work to get it open, and you try switching sides, and the person with the body triangle has a little bit, quicker path to locking it up and just switching back and forth. Body triangle is kind of not the most aggressive style. It's very, very safe, right? You lock onto the body triangle because you're trying to cling on and trying to really limit what the opponent has to do. But it's just, I've never been a huge fan of the body triangle. I think it's just a little too passive. It's just too much like cling on and hang on and, and just wait for the round to end. I like guys that, a little bit more attacking with the regular hooks and stretching people out and punching and offering a lot more, there's a lot more threats with regular hooks. Body triangle, all you can really do is hit them with your thumb and maybe try to choke them, but it's very, very slow.
Despite the fact that it's boring, it still continues to be a problem, and it seems like no one has an answer for it. Is there an answer out there that doesn't exist yet?
No, I mean, there's definitely things you can do. It's just that it's slow, right? So, someone locks on the body triangle, they're hanging out there for a long time. You got someone like Aljamain Sterling is phenomenal at it. He does it so much. It's just really, really hard to deal with. If you're on someone's back with a body triangle, you have a huge advantage. So for someone to overcome that it's a long fighting uphill.
Thanks. Back over here. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Joe.
What is your favorite thing about coaching and owning a gym?
So my favorite thing about owning a gym is teaching the kids classes. Like I teach the 6 to 9-year-olds in my class at my school. It's awesome. I feel like, with adults, you're kind of like, you're teaching them how to have like better side control or better punching or whatever you're gonna do. But with like little kids, you're having like lifelong changes to their behavior, right? You're absolutely changing their lives at such a young age. So I really like that part of it. So that's probably like the best part. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun working with the kids.
Hey, John, I got one for you. Over in the media. For the New England Cartel boys, Rob, Calvin, good to see you boys. I have a very simple question I think everyone in this arena knows the answer to, but is this the greatest sports town in the world?
That's easy, man. Of course. Hell yeah, man. Like, we're City of Champions for sure.
Yeah, a lot of banners behind us. I don't know where they are, but I kept my Titletown sweatshirt in the back, but I'm repping Patrice Bergeron today because he just retired. But his number's going to be up there pretty soon, and yes, you're absolutely right. This is the best sports town on planet Earth.
I love it. Thanks, boys.
Still looking to bring a title, UFC title belt back home, too, so working.
Chael Sutton, over here. So question for you. You'll go down in history as one of the best talkers, one of the best trash talkers in the history of the game. What advice would you give to the up-and-coming fighters that want to self-promote themselves, sell a fight, but also be authentic as well?
What, was that to me?
That was to you.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. So, one of the general rules is you give the audience what they want, but you never give them what they're expecting. You've got to come up with a code as well. And some guys forget that. Like, a hero has to fiercely adhere to his code. It doesn't have to be societies and the norms and the laws and the policies. It has to be his code. So you have to establish it. It takes some courage. It takes a little bit of time. And I would just tell guys not to try to be the next Conor McGregor. I think Israel Adesanya is wildly entertaining. I think Rampage Jackson got left out of it sometimes. I would tell them not to try to copy those guys or be the next Conor by example, but to be the first themselves. And I know that's a little bit cliche, but there's a lot of truth to it, right? There's a lot of angles out there. And you don't have to do your mama jokes or put a guy down. You don't have to do that. There's a lot of other ways to still be talking and still be entertaining and getting your message out.
And one more question for me. Who is your favorite person to trash talk to besides the universally beloved Tito Ortiz?
Yeah, Tito's fun. Let's see, the trash talk too. I don't know. Probably the Anderson Silva build-up. And I can't really remember why looking back. Like, I had legitimately convinced myself that I didn't like him and he was a bad guy, and I can't remember at all why I thought that. He never did anything to me before or since, but at that time, I felt like I was right in that situation.
You're the man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sonnen, I have a question for you. I already asked Rob this yesterday, but how do you think the fight between Chito Vera and Pedro Munoz is gonna develop?
Can I tell you this? Why is Chito here? I think if you answer that question, why is Chito here? Chito's here, in my opinion, because he's the unofficial backup fighter. I believe they booked Chito in case anything happened in the main event, they were going to move him into that spot. And generally, when that happens to a guy, if he gets a win, he's now the #1 contender. Generally speaking, I'd love to know Rob's thought on that. He might say that Sandhagen deserves it, and I don't know that people would argue, but particularly if Sugar Sean comes out, Sean said, I already said I'm going to defend against Chito if he gets the win. The Boston Athletic Commission, the Sugar State Athletic Commission, like there's a whole rivalry going on here about records, and who's going to win? Look, Pedro Munoz is a stud, but you're asking me, I think that Chito's going to win.
And if I could get everyone's short opinion on Michael Morales, I'm asking this because I'm from Ecuador, so I would like to know, what do you guys see in Michael Morales? Do you see him having a good future? He's been growing, he's 3-0 in the promotion, and I'm starting to listen to people talk about him and notice him. What do you guys think?
He's smooth, man. I like the way he put his combinations together. He's real patient. And obviously, we just got to see him rise the ranks. But I like his style. The last one he put on, his last performance, he was real calm, real collected, and he finally found that finish.
I'm always a fan of guys like with the first couple of fights in the UFC. I feel like they have so much opportunity to change and kind of evolve as a fighter. So I'm always excited to see kind of where things go for people.
Her prospects, still a lot to prove.
Thank you for the question. Go ahead, sir.
I got a question for the GOAT, Chael Sonnen. I was wondering what you were thinking about the Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards fight.
Well, first off, it's just a Q&A. You didn't have to get all dressed up for us. But secondly, I say that with love. I actually just talked to Colby, and there was a rumor going around, actually started by the Schmo, that Colby was going to be assigned to the October card or the November card. So that would be either Abu Dhabi or New York City. But Colby is now coming out and saying that he's likely to fight in December. And I think the real truth on that is that's what he thinks and hopes. I don't know that that fight is being booked. I know December is still available and they need a main event, and that seems to make a whole bunch of sense. But it takes three. It takes the promotion and then the A side and the B side. And right now we've only got one guy, which is Colby, saying that it's going to be December. I hope he's right. I want to see that fight.
Same here. I think Leon's scared.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question is for Rob. I was just wondering, what was going through your head when they asked you to step in to fight Sandhagen and get off this card? Did you have an option to stay on this card, or did you see that as a way to maybe catapult yourself?
So we try to make the fight happen here. We obviously they needed a main event, so they weren't all about that. But we try to make the fight here. I'm not sure what happened with my original opponent, Song. He fell out, so it was a no-brainer for me to step in another main event. Huge opportunity. There's a lot of upside to that fight if I would have won. So it was a no-brainer. But my first thought was bring him to Boston.
What were the 8 days like leading up to the fight, where you were trying to train for his style as opposed to Song's, which was probably going to be a lot more adequate for your style, standing up?
Yeah, so obviously Song is more of a shorter, stockier power puncher. And then you have Corey, who's more of a long, rangy, in and out kind of style. So it was basically just mimic, having my partner Tom mimic his movement, mimic basically what he does, and just kind of getting the long, rangy look, and then mainly focusing on what I wanted to do. And in a perfect world, we would have got him in Boston, but it didn't play out.
All right, run that shit back with the full camp.
Let's go, bro. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. This one's for Mr. Sonnen. You said Sterling. You said Sterling is gonna beat O'Malley. I was wondering if you could predict how he will win, and how would you feel if O'Malley beat Sterling?
Oh, well, let me go in reverse order. How would I feel? I love it. I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm sitting back and watching. I'll tell you, young man, I woke up this morning, I went to DraftKings and checked the odds, and they are dead even. And I have not seen dead even in a period of time. In fact, even yesterday it was minus 120 to plus 110. They're dead even as of 8 a.m. this morning. So he could definitely beat him, is my point. And how do I think that Aljo will do it? I think that there's some relevance to the fact that Aljo fought 91 days ago. I think there's something to be said for momentum. I think that O'Malley's been out for a small amount of time. I think that 5 rounds is a little bit of a question mark, right? I mean, it's a toss-up. I'm not bullish on this thought, but it's hard to beat the champ. That's just the truth, especially your first time getting a shot at it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question's for Chael Sonnen. Who is your favorite active fighter?
Oh, God, I'm sitting by 2 of them, Rob Font and Calvin Kattar, for sure. You want to know who else I enjoy? And I'll admit I'm a front runner, but I've been very impressed with Volkanovski's attitude. His attitude, even over his skills. That he goes to a press conference after he gets a win. First off, he never should have fought Max Holloway on short notice the 3rd time. He didn't own the fight. That was the riskiest move of his career, whether he dominated it or not. But that's the kind of guy that he is. Then he goes to the press conference, he calls for another quick fight. Then he wants to go up to Islam, and it's just one of these things where he's a real competitor. You want to know who else I really enjoy his work is Michael Chandler.
And then how do you see it going down for Charles versus Islam too?
Oh my goodness, I don't want to be a spoiler here, but we've been told through hearsay that Charles has agreed to that fight. Charles himself has told us 3 times he's not doing the fight. So I don't know how long we're going to play this game of chicken before we call Justin Gaethje or Volkanovski, but how do I think it's going to go down? He was a 3-1 dog the first time. He's a 4-1 dog this time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Back over here. Go ahead, sir.
Question for Chael Sonnen. Really love the YouTube channel. Big fan. And my question would be,
what is your most anticipated fight for the remaining of this year?
Okay, well, if we can get Colby Covington and Leon, I think that matters. And even if I'm giving Charles a hard time, I'm giving a hard time because I want to see him do it. I really want to see that fight. I'm thinking, as you say this, I'm kind of thinking, but I will be very curious if Aljo gets a win on Saturday and goes after Volkanovski. If they make that fight, that also opens a door for Gaethje versus Islam. And I mean, there's a massive domino that is on the table based on the outcome of the main event tomorrow night. That I will tell you.
Awesome. And since I'm looking at the man with the greatest charms and the biggest arms, I just want to know what your workout routine is like right now.
All right, so I used to tease people that walked and called it exercise, but I got a treadmill in my garage, and now I walk, and then I got some dumbbells in there and a heavy bag, you know, that kind of stuff, but nothing too intense.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, this is for anybody up there. I was just kind of curious, what is the best perk of this job that most people wouldn't think of?
I mean, for me right now, I'm sitting up here with Chael Sonnen, Joe Lauzon, Rob Fonjanic at the TD Gardens. Pretty fucking cool if you ask me.
And just as a follow-up, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all of you for coming out here today. It's unfortunate we're not going to get you on the card, but I'm a massive fan of all of you, and this is John Attic as well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much.
All right, question for John Anik and the American Gangster. When Sugar Sean knocks out Aljo tomorrow night, does he become the biggest superstar in the UFC? And is it a rise like Conor McGregor had back when he defeated Aldo?
Well, Chael, I'll send it to you. I think it's ambitious to think that any mixed martial arts athlete could get to the precipice of a Conor McGregor, but I wouldn't put it past Sugar Sean O'Malley. I think Chael would agree. He can take his profile to an entirely different level if he leaves Boston, Massachusetts, the undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world.
Yeah, sure. There was a show called American Idol years ago, and there was this British guy that was a jerk called Simon Cowell, and he came out and told the world that some people have the it factor. And that term has stuck around ever since the guy said it, but we know what that means, right? And Sean O'Malley has the it factor. Plus, he's pulling this new gimmick. It's not just with the hair. Now he's like going places without a shirt on, or if he gets there and he has his shirt on, he takes his shirt off. I mean, it's funny. The guy is good. It's those simple little things that go a long way. And I worked with Teddy Atlas this morning, and he made a comparison, not to Conor McGregor. He made a comparison with Sean O'Malley to Israel Adesanya that I thought was very interesting. I needed to think about it once Teddy said it, but after he said it, I get that comparison. And yeah, man, his star's on the rise.
That's a great comparison. He's married to the game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, what's up? This question's for Calvin. Just wanted to see how your recovery is going, and will we see you fight by the end of the year, potentially someone against like Brian Ortega?
Yeah, thanks for asking. The knee's feeling great. Finally at 100% training, and been at that for a few weeks now, ready to jump into camp and take something. Hopefully by the end of the year. Brian Ortega, or really anybody in the featherweight division, I really pick my fights. I just say yes. I let my manager work all that stuff out, and I'm really just competing with myself every time I step in there. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, if not first quarter next year, the latest. But I'm excited to get back.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
So this question is for the undisputed, undefeated American Gangster, Chael Sonnen. I was just thinking the other day, how tough you really are, and I came to the conclusion that you're as tough as nails. I'm just wondering, would you agree?
Well, that's very sweet of you. You know, maybe at one time I think that I would agree with that statement, but I do feel like as a fan, as soon as I stopped doing the sport and now I watch these guys, I'll be on the outside thinking, why are these guys fighting one another? Like, they don't have a problem with each other. This guy didn't do anything to him. Like, it's one of these things where it kind of gets a little bit, it's different. Once you retire and you step away, it's, you know what, I'm being humble. Yeah, I'm the man. I'll whip them off. Bring them off. 1-on-1, 2-on-1, or 5-on-1. I'll make them all need 9-1-1. And don't be fooled by these glasses, okay? Or the young man behind you that's got 18 million views for singing The Rich Men from Richmond. Did you see him right behind you? This is the biggest star in the country right now. He might be up here to sing for us in a moment. You gotta turn around. You don't even know who's behind you.
Let's be honest, you're still tough as nails.
Tough as nails. Women's pet and the men's regret.
Thank you
Normally we go back and forth, but I kind of feel like I need to go right back to this gentleman. Would you like to ask a question to Chael or anybody else, good sir?
I was just going to say real quick to the boys, obviously Calvin, Rob, Joe, if you were to be able to get to two prospect fighters back or just into the UFC in general, who would they be? And how do you feel about the local regional scene?
Two prospects to bring up. I always got to go with my boy Rico DeShulo and Mitch Raposo. I would love to see them in the UFC soon.
As far as local guys haven't been there yet, I'm a big fan of Nate Garib. I think he's coming up too.
Yeah, Tom Pags and Yuri Panfrock. I'd say two of those guys, and also Brendan Mudd. He's another local guy. He's our main event at Combat Zone next Saturday, and that kid brings fireworks every time. So yeah, you got some big New England fighters coming up in the ranks next.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. All right, back over here. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead.
Calvin, Rob, New England's been in a bit of a sports or a championship drought. When are we going to get the duck boats going out?
Shit, that's what I'm saying, man. The bar's set pretty low right now, but we're excited to get back and hopefully kick that door in and cue the duck boats, man. We're working on it, but with the injuries, it's kind of a pain in the ass. But I'm excited to get back and just show you what I've been working on. Ready to go, though.
Let's go, boys. And Uncle Chael, I wanted to know your thoughts on the current state of MMA media. What's your outlook in the next couple of years?
For MMA media?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the media. I mean, I go 5 or 6 times a day. I feel like I'm always refreshing and scrolling through pages.
You are the GOAT. You're the
Oh, I appreciate that. you were correct. But, for like my coworkers, they're also, they're doing a good job out there. I like the dirt sheets. I go all the time. Get some rumors, get some speculation. I'll start a rumor. I'll make some up. It's a slow day. Right? We don't have to be right. We just got to be entertaining.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. My question is for the man with the biggest arms in all of Wesleyan, Oregon. I'm a big fan of yours, as well as of Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch's, and I'd like to ask you about what you saw in Tim Welch during your time at Team Quest with him.
Well, Tim Welch, so he wanted to be a competitor, and by the way, he was a great competitor, but he would come up, and I think it was from Montana. They would jump in some kind like a Jeep Wrangler, there'd be 4 of them, their bags would be in the back. I mean, it was this typical story. They don't even know where their next meal is gonna be, but they got their next workout lined up. And Tim was just one of the guys. He was just going from town to town trying to learn the sport. But he was so good at it, like when practice was over, we would ask him to come back on the mat and show us, what were you doing here? What were you looking for here? What is this technique? He was very advanced and he had an eye for it. It just wasn't what he wanted to do. He was a young man. He was trying to pursue a career himself, but I think he will be a coach of a world champion before maybe he get that opportunity, So, he's good at both, don't get me wrong, but he's special. He's got a special mind, Tim Welch, in my opinion.
Thank you, Chael.
You're welcome.
All right, we got about 10 minutes to go, so probably 5 or 6 more questions. If you haven't lined up yet, probably should refrain from doing so. Sorry about that. Let's go back over here, sir. What do you have?
This question is open for anybody on the panel. It seems like a lot of people think that Sterling is just going to take O'Malley down tomorrow pretty easily. But his numbers in his last 8 fights say that he's only had a 16% successful rate on takedown attempts. And although O'Malley was taken down 6 times by Jan, nothing really happened and O'Malley popped right back up. So tomorrow's battle seems to be like the wrestling of Sterling versus the 11 knockouts worth of striking from O'Malley. I'd like to hear what you all think will prevail tomorrow, Sterling's wrestling or O'Malley's striking.
Joe Lauzon, spotlight's on you, kid. Start us off.
All right, so I mean, when you're looking at it on paper, Sterling is he's the wrestler guy, right? He's looking for jiu-jitsu. He's looking to get the back. O'Malley is, he's done very, very well at defending takedowns, fighting off jiu-jitsu, using some submissions of his own. But he definitely seems to be the more polished, fancier striker for sure. I think that if everyone's looking at the card, they're looking at the fight. They're thinking that if Aljamain wins, it's by decision or by back control and a choke. And if Sugar Shane wins, then he's going to, win with, a knockout. So I think it's a little safer for Aljamain to hit the takedown. So I think that's what a lot of people are expecting.
I think we're going to see a round 2 step back fadeaway after O'Malley gets a knockout. Let's go, baby.
All right, back over her. Go ahead, sir.
This is a question for Calvin, Joe, and Rob. What drives you guys to get into the octagon every day, other than the fortune and fame?
I'm just trying to change my life every time I step in there, and the opponent on the other side of me is just in my way of doing that. I'm chasing that win side money and all the things that I can provide for the people in my life on the other side of a win.
For me, it's all about just trying to level up. To me, fighting's like a video game. I'm trying to get better all the time. We go out and we test ourselves and we see how we do, but it's always about just getting better at everything. Always get better.
Yeah, I think I'm just addicted to that rush, man. And I'm walking out, feeling that feel. Going through training camps, and physically putting your hands on somebody and watching them go to sleep is just no other feeling, man. It's hard to explain, but when you get in there and you just put somebody out, it's the best feeling ever.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, first and foremost, I'd just like to give you guys all the most respect I could, especially you, Chael Sonnen. You say a lot of the shit that nobody else wants to say. And Joe Lauzon, I just wanted to ask you, why'd you and your brother fight that one time in your front yard? On YouTube, I seen that. You guys are legends. Well, first of all, you're a legend, brother. And I just wanted to know what the reason behind that was. I've always wondered. And I love you guys all, for real.
So that fight happened. My family used to have a pig roast every August, first Sunday in August every year. And Danny was there, probably drinking a little bit. Probably not quite 21 yet. But he's drinking a little bit, mouthing off to all his friends, being a little bit of a punk to his friends. So his friends come out don't make us get your brother over here, kick your ass. Right? So then Danny's like, I'll beat his ass, I'll knock him out.
Man, you showed him, huh?
Yeah, so then he comes over and he's definitely been drinking, he's a little bit drunk. I'm like, nope. And then my dad comes over and just leans into my ear, he's like, kick his ass.
There you go.
Okay, so now my dad wants to fight, so okay, we're gonna do this. We put on gloves. I was in fight shape because I had fought 2 weeks before, a week before. Danny was not in fight shape. So we do it, and I tell him right off the bat, we're doing this one time, that's it. One time, we're done. And then, so we do it. I catch him in a triangle, and I pick off the gloves, I'm saying, we're done. He comes up, he pushes me. And I'm like, we're done. I said one time, because I know how this goes, right? Anyone's got a little brother, big brother, whatever. You know it doesn't end after one. No, so then, I'm saying I'm done. I take the gloves off. We're done. My dad comes over in my ear again. He's like, one more time. So we do it one more time. And then, Danny got a lot of heat at the end of the fight because I got him in a rear naked choke, and I let go, and he tried to sucker punch me, right? But really what happened was he tapped. I didn't like how he had pushed me right after the first fight, so I gave it a little extra squeeze just to let him know, remind him who Big Brother was. He took a swing on me. I definitely deserved it, but that was kind of how that came about. It's all on YouTube, though.
Hey, no doubt. Also, I just wanted to say, Calvin, can't wait to see you fight again. Rob, can't wait to see you fight again. Chael, I'm looking forward to your next video. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, got 2 minutes to go, folks. You guys have been great. Back over here, young man. What do you have?
This is for Chael, P, Sonnen. I want to know, your trash talk is almost undeniably the best to ever come to the UFC. I want to know if you think your career was overlooked by your trash talk, if your talent was underseen by the words you would say before the fight.
Well, I appreciate that. I guess you'd have to tell me. I never felt that way about it. I did feel, one thing I felt I never got credit for is I would fight anyone, anywhere, at any time, regardless of what I said, but that was my code. I'll say whatever I want to say, but when it's time to show up, I'll make that walk no matter how I feel. I had to do it at 85 against world champions, 205 against world champions, heavyweight against world. I fought Anderson, John Jones, and Fedor, and I whipped them all, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I did think that part was a little bit misunderstood. I fought 11 world champions in 3 different weight classes. I beat 8 of them. And I didn't even need the Sugar State Athletic Commission for that. That was like the Nevada Commission. So there was one point, if I was to shine up my own wheels, I would probably bring that up.
Mm-hmm. one of the best UFC careers, best fighting careers. You almost have 75 amateur and professional careers, over 50% win, I would say. So 100%, yes. 100% win rate for Chael Sonnen.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce my nephew, who I planted in the crowd. But you did an excellent job, just like we rehearsed. Thank you.
Thanks, Uncle Chael.
All right, buddy.
All right, our final question comes from this gentleman over here. Sir, what do you have?
Yeah?
This is a question for Chael Sonnen. Who do you think would win, Stipe or John Jones?
Stipe Miocic, I think, is going to be a big problem. I do, and I'm sitting on some inside scoop. You want to know what it is? So I'm pen pals with Stipe's wife. You know, we send little text messages, but she told me that he's up 20 pounds the right way. He put on 20 pounds of muscle. His last fight, he weighed 233 pounds against Francis Ngannou. That made them 1-1. So Stipe thought they'd go to the trilogy, and he needed to be bigger. So he went out and got bigger, and I just think it's relevant. Like, as good as Stipe was and all the records that Stipe set, 20 pounds more of muscle on Stipe Miocic, I think, is a very scary proposition.
All right, Boston, Mass, can't thank you guys enough. We got the ceremonial weigh-in coming up in 15 minutes, but how about one final hand for these gentlemen, Calvin Kattar, Joe Lauzon, Rob Font, and Chael Sonnen. Thank you guys for coming out. Fighters will be up here in 10 minutes.